I think I heard Mr. Auroch. I would like to reconvene and call the meeting to order for the City Council meeting of April 3rd, 2018. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Boyson?
Here.
Councilmember Cordero?
Here.
Councilmember Moats?
Here.
Councilmember Waterfield?
Here.
Madam Mayor Patino?
Here. City Attorney, Mr. Trujillo, could you please give the closed session report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The City Council held a closed session to discuss existing litigation. There is no reportable action. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our first order of business is a proclamation, and Councilmember Waterfield will be making the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And this proclamation is in regards to the Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Unfortunately, it is, we live in troubling times, and this is a proclamation that I wish that we would never have to make because none of this exists, but it does. Whereas people of all racial, cultural, and economic background falls victim to sexual violence, which is widespread and impacts every person in this community. And statistics show child sexual abuse prevention must be a priority to confront the reality that 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 4 girls will experience a sexual assault before age 18. And whereas rape and sexual violence of all kinds continue to occur at an alarming rate, with California having the most reported rapes in the United States, and with the Department of Justice stating that an American is sexually assaulted every 98 seconds in the United States. And whereas emotional and physical scars resulting from sexual violence are often permanent, therefore working together to educate this community about sexual violence prevention, supporting survivors, and speaking out against harmful attitudes and action is so important. And whereas a coalition of organizations exists which directly confronts this crisis, including North County Rape Crisis and Child Protection Center, law enforcement agencies, churches, healthcare providers, and volunteers from the community that serve these agencies who are helping in the effort to end sexual assault. And whereas prevention is possible when everyone gets involved in increasing education, awareness, and community involvement, recognizing the compassion and dedication of the individuals involved in this effort, and noting the challenges of the victims/survivors of sexual assault and their families and friends as they struggle to cope with the reality of sexual violence. Now, therefore, Alice M. Patino, Mayor of the City of Santa Maria, do hereby recognize April 20th, 2018 as Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month in the City of Santa Maria, and encourage all residents and businesses to participate in a month full of recognition and activities promoted by the North County Rape Crisis and Child Prevention Center to increase awareness of sexual assault and to create solutions in an effort to eliminate sexual violence from this city. And here to accept the proclamation is Kathleen Ramos.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council members. As an advocate for the North County Rape Crisis and Child Protection Center, I'm also an outreach presenter. And while I'm out in the local schools, we have a child safe program, and we are out there fighting the good fight every single day with our children. Our children are our future, and I truly believe that. And I just wanted to share a quick story. I was at a local school the other day, and we are educating them on what is a good touch, what is a bad touch, and what is a confusing touch. And we're teaching them about abuse. And some people may think that, teaching our young children about this is wrong, but I believe in our mission, and I believe that educating through these prevention programs is doing a world of difference. I had 7 disclosures in one school a few weeks ago, and 1 is too many. 7 in one school is way too many. So I'll continue to fight every day to bring awareness around sexual assault and sexual abuse, because it's not just happening to adults, it's happening to our children. And I just thank you. Thank you for this month. Thank you for this proclamation, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Next, we have another proclamation, and Councilmember Boyson will be making the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This proclamation celebrating Donate Life Month for April of 2018. Whereas organ, tissue, marrow, and blood donation are life-giving acts recognized worldwide as expressions of compassion to those in need, and whereas the need for donated organs is especially urgent in Hispanic and African American communities, and whereas more than 600,000 units of blood per year are needed to meet the need in California alone, and at any given time, 6,000 patients are in need of volunteer bone marrow donors. And whereas a single individual's donation of the heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, pancreas, and small intestines can save up to 8 lives, donations of tissue can save and heal the lives of up to 50 others. Whereas millions of lives each year are saved and healed by donors of organs, tissues, marrow, and blood, and the spirit of giving and decision to donate are not restricted by age. And whereas Santa Maria residents can sign up with the Donate Life California Registry when applying for or renewing their driver's license or ID cards at the Department of Motor Vehicles. Now, therefore, Alice Patino, Mayor of the City of Santa Maria, hereby recognizes April 2018 as Donate Life Month in the City of Santa Maria and encourages everyone to check yes when applying for or renewing their driver's license or ID card, or by signing up at www.donatelifecalifornia.org or www.donevida, California.org. And here to accept this proclamation is Scott Burns.
Mayor and City Councilman, thank you very much. Organ donation awareness. Organ donations are a very important thing. There are many people nationwide and countywide that are on a waiting list for organs. We've got about 450,000 people in Santa Barbara County, and right now there's about 195 people that are on a waiting list hoping for an organ. I'm alive because a lady put a pink dot on her driver's license. Vivian Boutel was a nurse at Cottage Hospital. She died suddenly, and I ended up not really meeting her, but meeting her family after I received her kidney. The reason I'm here is to bring a little personal story to all the 118,000 people nationwide that are waiting for an organ donation. In a little bit, I'm going to go visit my sister. She works part-time at the Santa Maria Sewing Center, and earlier today I was seeing my mom at the, if I can get this right, Santa Maria Urgent Care Center. I think that's what it's called, Rehab Center, not the urgent care, where she's 100 years old. We just celebrated her 100th birthday. Another small thing about me is I have a 25-year-old son. 5 years ago, he met this girl. They've been going out for 5 years. Last year, they moved in together. About 2 months ago, he called with an important announcement. And I'm happy that I'm alive to hear these things. His important announcement was they have a cat. Now, you know, I'm an individual. Everybody has these individual things. I'm very happy they have a cat. That's not what I was expecting to hear, but that's okay. I hope you guys all do the pink dot on your driver's license. People are in a desperate need of it. I'm around. The city clerk has my address and phone number. If anybody has any questions about organ donations, I've been volunteering ever since I found out I needed a kidney about 6 years ago. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda will be the public comment period. Madam Clerk, could you please read the criteria for the public comment portion of this agenda?
This time is reserved to accept comments from the public on consent agenda items, closed session items, or matters not otherwise scheduled on the printed agenda this evening. Unless otherwise directed by the mayor, speakers will have 3 minutes to comment. Direction to staff may be given. However, state law does not allow action to be taken by the city council on matters not on the printed agenda this evening. Once the public comment period commences, no other speakers will be allowed to submit a request to speak form. And Madam Mayor, we have 6 requests to speak.
Thank you. Mary Jaka, followed by Bob Auroch.
Good evening, Mayor Patino and council members. I'm here this evening to inform you of some concerns that the parents, community, and students have. As community members, leaders, parents, and students, we are demanding that our representatives take action to protecting our youth by putting in place a school buffer zone to keep gun stores away from schools. In front of Santa Maria High School, there is a gun shop right across Broadway. Parents and students fear a shooting may occur there. This is simply common sense, and it's about the basic safety of our youth and our community. When young people are telling us that they are living in fear with a gun store across from the entrance to their school, we need to listen. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob Auroch, followed by Francesca Shepard, followed by Abraham Melendez.
Yeehaw! Go rodeo. I didn't forget my hat tonight.
Okay.
Got the pink dot. When I was sitting up there many years ago when they first brought this up, I don't know how many organs they can actually use out of my body, but they can take whatever they want. I think my wife, Mary Ellen, would say, adios. I'm here on behalf of Elks Recreation and the 75th year of 1538 Elks Lodge here in town, who have raised, and Mike could correct me, I think it's over $11.9 million in those 75 years that have come back to the community and the youth and the programs to support. The biggest event in Santa Maria is coming the end of May, which is the Elks 75th Rodeo, and it's diamonds and denim is the theme this year. Your Honor, Alice Patino is helping me along with Patty Rodriguez, City Clerk. I volunteered again this year to be the Go Rodeo program to try and get the businesses to celebrate the rodeo by going rodeo. And if most of you that may have been here before, you know, the banks and the auto dealers and all these and other companies too dressed rodeo that week or that day, and they had hay bales, and I think a couple of them had horses in the parking lot and things like that. Anyway, last year was our first year, and it kicked off rather nicely. This year we've included the famous window painting. So through Community Development Department, we have all the permits to allow the community on a temporary basis to have their windows painted. We have met with the high school art classes. There are 9 art classes in town in the high school jurisdiction that have gone off the wall and said they're excited to participate. We asked how many students do you think might want to go out and paint windows if Mike Cordero's beauty shop wants to do that. And they said about 120. Well, we fell out of our chairs and said, holy mackerel. Anyway, the bottom line is that the art teachers and everybody at the schools are just pumped up. And we're trying to raise money because paint, brushes, lunches, all those things cost a little bit of money. The school district is going to provide transportation to get them, and they're going to paint on 2 different days because there's examinations going on at the high schools during that week. And so what we're passing out, and gave copies to everyone. The Chamber of Commerce has it on their website. The Elks have it on their website. If you'd like a window painted, just read the information on there. Call me or Alice or anybody else. It's really exciting. And what's neat is the artists group, it's not like the football team, the basketball team, and the other things. They have, I didn't know that, and we heard this, that per year for the art students, the class gets $4.50 a year toward the art program. And so that's why when we were talking about painting, they said, well, we need paint and brushes and drop cloths and things like that. When they go out to do your business, it's kind of like, well, that ain't free. So we've worked out with them, and so if we can raise the money, the Elks will monitor that. And so anyway, that's, any of you that have businesses want to decorate, go on the website, call me, call Alice, I don't care.
Thank you,
We're
Mr.
ready
Rock.
to help you. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Francesca Shepard, followed by Abraham Melendez, followed by Sarah McDonald.
I'm Francesca Shepard, Honorable.
Francesca, can you bring the microphone down so I can hear you there?
Honorable Mayor and City Councilmen, and women. Not a darn thing fell off. I'm here today to request some help with the overflowing parking of Marion Hospital in my neighborhood, especially my house and across the street. And I cannot get in during the day and often not at night. People in the town think I'm a party girl all day long and all night long, and I'm actually at work. So I would like to see if there's anything that can be done. A sign put up says you cannot park here without a permit. I have seen this done before, mostly in European countries, where the homeowner gets a permit, and when you have guests coming, you can give them the permit, and they put it on the dashboard, and they can visit you without the frustration of not finding a place to park. I can hardly get into my garage at this point. I bought cones. I bought 6 cones, and I put them out on the street, which I know is not wanted. But it took 2 weeks and 3 days for the police to come and took the cones in my front yard and sent me a note that I need to call them. Well, I have called them, but nobody calls back. They left me an extension and so forth. So I don't know what to do, but somebody needs to address this. It's dangerous to get out of my car. My car, get out in the street. People drive fast through. You can't see them. Across the street, there is a fire hydrant. They park in the fire hydrant. I've not seen one person yet to get a ticket. So I would hope that perhaps the city would look at Cypress Street. Cypress Street, there's no parking, but there's no traffic. So I'm hoping that it will be considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Abraham Melendez, followed by Sarah McDonald, followed by Jennifer Lopez.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council members. My name is Abraham Melendez with CAUSE. As community members, leaders, parents, and students, we're asking that our representatives take action in protecting our youth by putting in place a school buffer zone to keep gun stores away from schools. From agricultural pesticides to marijuana dispensaries, it's common practice for policies to place buffer zones around schools for something that could be harmful to children and youth. If there's anything in the world that should have a buffer zone around schools, it's the advertisement and sale of deadly weapons. Last year, the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court upheld Alameda County's very extensive gun store buffer zone policy, setting strong legal precedent that while individuals in the U.S. have a legal right to buy guns, local communities have the right to say where gun stores should be located. This is simply common sense. Madam Mayor, City Council members, you always say how much you want to be known for caring about our youth safety. I would imagine this is a no-brainer, and we look forward to your prompt action. Thank you.
Sarah McDonald, followed by Jennifer Lopez.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. I concur with Mary Jacka and Abraham Melendres. I also am concerned about our youth having the proximity of the gun store across the street from Santa Maria High School. I'm now getting back into my physical activity because of my illness. And it didn't occur to me just how the proximity of Getter Gun is on Broadway, and then on the other side, on Thornburg, during some select weekends, there are gun shows. And while the youth are playing soccer, I believe that there should be a cocoon around the area of the schools, anybody who has young people who are involved, because it just takes one bad person, not bad person, somebody who decides that they're going to go buy a gun, and they know that there is activity with the youth to do some serious harm. So please consider cocooning in the areas around schools. It's the only right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer Lopez?
Good evening, Mayor of Santa Maria and City Council members. My name is Jennifer Lopez. I'm 16 years old and I go to Santa Maria High School. Imagine yourselves in the shoes of a Santa Maria High School student in this time of nearly constant school shootings and gun violence, where students, parents, and teachers at your school have been terrified by threats in the wake of the Parkland shooting. Imagine the first thing you see every day when you walk in and out of the entrance to your school is a gun store across the street, where weapons similar to the one used in Parkland are advertised and sold. This is unacceptable. This is why we are demanding that you take action and work to put in place a school buffer zone for gun shops. Thank you.
Thank you. Pastor Nielsen, you'd like to make an announcement? And thank you so much for being here tonight.
I was your rookie and I stepped in.
We called on the second string.
Thank you. Sorry, I've been praying for the city council for 20 plus years, and I'm so used to coming at 6:30, and so I guess I didn't get the memo that it's 5:30 now? Okay. I do have a very important news piece, and that is that reliable sources have told me that it's supposed to rain this Friday and Saturday, and so it would not be good for us to do Serve Santa Maria. So our team this afternoon met, and I just sent out an email this afternoon. So I'm glad that people are hopefully watching on TV. The KSBY has already contacted me, and so we're going to move Serve Santa Maria number 15 to April 14th. This will probably cause some people not to be able to make it. I hope our park projects can be done that day. It's just a whole big mess nightmare, but we'll work it out because we're grateful that we can have rain this Friday and Saturday. So, yeah. So you don't need a prayer then, or do you?
So, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Give you another prayer?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you can step in and pray anytime, because any one of us can. Wow. Wow, even my own congregation doesn't always stand up like that. You folks are so wonderful. I want to pray for you. Almighty God, we are just so grateful for all the blessings you bestow upon us each day. And we're grateful if the weather report is giving us rain this weekend. We are so desperately in need of it in our own community and throughout California. So we do pray that it'll be a good, gentle rain that won't cause mudslides, but can replenish our reservoirs and rivers and aquifers. And God, I'm just grateful for the people in this room who listen to the citizens of our community that are doing to the best of their ability to make wise decisions to help this continue to be a great place to live and work and play. So we ask your blessing upon these leaders in our community, these citizens who have come tonight to express their views so that we can work together in a democratic way to make this Santa Maria an all-America city. We thank you, God, and we praise you. Amen. Okay. Sorry I got to go. I got another meeting at 7, but thank you for letting me back up the prayer you did earlier.
Thank you very much, Pastor Nielsen. Before we move on, Mr. Stilwell, did you wish to make any comments?
Sure, I can make a couple of comments, Madam Mayor, members of the council. First would be relative to land use regulation. The land use ordinances affect uses going forward. So anytime the council does adopt a land use ordinance for a particular use of a zoning use, it would be for the property moving forward, not existing properties. Existing properties are what we call grandfathered in because they were approved under the regulatory framework at the time. The second comment would be the parking around the hospital. We do recognize that's an increasing problem and one that we're tackling on multiple issues. We're working with the hospital staff to make sure they notify their employees on a regular basis that they're not allowed to park in the neighborhood areas and that they need to park in designated spots. We'll revise the sign to make that more clear. We're bringing forward or plan to bring forward at a future council meeting the issue of parking on East Cypress in the hospital zone area. And we have the community service unit that goes out there and does parking enforcement. And then we'll look into Ms. Shepard's comments tonight about having permit parking in that area.
I have one comment. With the fire hydrant that Ms. Shepherd indicated, you may want to paint that red around there because it does get blocked all the time.
Mr. Stilwell, for about probably 5 or 6 weeks, I spent a lot of time there at not only at the hospital, but extended care and driving around there, not in the hospital. And I don't know how she can back out of her driveway because you can't see because of the cars, and the cars come so fast down Palisade. Okay, that to me is a huge issue, is the speeding. But, you know, the hospital came to us and asked us to put in a crosswalk because the people didn't like to go down to the corner. It doesn't help. They're crossing anywhere they want in there. So, you know, I don't know what you do. And I don't think these are employees necessarily. They're people who go and visit, and they just walk across any place they want. So, lots of luck. But that's really dangerous in there. I'm surprised Ms. Shepard hasn't been hit. I'm surprised a pedestrian hasn't been hit there.
And in regards to the red around the fire hydrant, you need to put a sign there that does say no parking right there because that does get narrow in that area. So,
and I don't want to be specific, but there are places where it says no parking between or an hour parking between a certain time. And I've seen this one particular van. I don't know if it ever gets moved, but it's been there for days and hours at a time, and we don't seem to enforce that. So. Okay. Moving on to the consent calendar. Madam Clerk, could you please read item number 3?
The following items are presented for City Council approval without discussion as a single agenda item in order to expedite the meeting. The consent calendar is approved by roll call vote with one motion. These items are discussed only on the request of council members.
Okay. Does anyone have anything they need to have pulled? No? Okay.
Move for approval of the consent calendar.
Okay, having heard a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Boyson?
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield?
Aye.
Councilmember Moats?
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Madam Mayor Patino?
Aye. The next order of business is an appointment. Madam Clerk, could you please read the title?
The City Council will consider one appointment to the Library Board of Trustees. Go ahead. I'll be giving the staff report this evening. Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, the Library Board of Trustees currently has one vacancy. Staff received 2 new applications from Robert Curry and Helen Galvan for Council's consideration. The appointments to be made by Madam Mayor Patino with ratification by the City Council for the unexpired term ending in June 2019. The clerk's office will maintain the application of the applicant not chosen this evening for 1 year in the event another vacancy should occur.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, may I?
Yes, Mr. Cordero.
Mr. Curry is the one with Hancock, right? Yes. Yes. Madam Mayor, I'd like to suggest that we appoint Mr. Curry. I spoke with him personally, and he seems to fit this need very well, and he's done things like this before, and he is also an avid reader.
Madam Mayor, is there, and maybe I should ask our city manager and our city clerk, is there any reason we can't expand the library board to 6 members? Having 2 very qualified
Question.
candidates?
No, the council can expand it to 6. The city attorney's advising that, having an odd number is helpful in the event of a tie, but it is the council's discretion. And we do have 2 other terms expiring in July, so it could go back to 5 in the future if the council desires.
So we could actually appoint both of them tonight?
I think that's right.
Or wait till July and appoint one if they don't.
Mr. Trujillo?
Yes, I'd recommend only appointing one today. We'll look at the statute that governs it. The librarian believes that there is a statute that limits it to 5 members, so we'll take a close look at that and determine whether or not we can change our rules to add additional members.
I didn't know that.
What was that, Mr. Cordero?
I say I didn't know that there was a statute governing the
I thought there was a statute for at the county level, but I didn't know there was one at the city level. And I'm sorry. You're not aware of one?
No, but the librarian is.
And so ignorance is no excuse of the law? Okay. Okay, this is really very, very difficult. So I'm going to call that as a nomination, Mr. Cordero, is that okay? And do I hear a second, or would someone like to nominate another one?
I put a request to speak, so I would ask if I could speak before you make or you can do whatever you want, Mayor.
Oh, he said public comment. It didn't refer to this item, but...
Okay, I'm sorry. She had this down for public, this was for public
Oh,
comment.
then, yeah, you could just, public comment's gone, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so I'll speak on this issue right here.
Go ahead, Mr. Armando.
I'm going to recommend Helen Galvin for the library board. And since the librarian has more authority than the city council to decide what statutes exist, then I'm going to request that if you're not going to appoint Helen Galvin, then maybe we should postpone this and put more applicants in. See, if you're changing the rules of the game and you're going to look into this, then you should go re-advertise this for more people can get involved. Because see, right now we have a city attorney that is not aware of no statute. Mr. Cordero is not aware of any statute. So that I'm hearing this, and then what I'm thinking is that the librarian knows more about the library than the city council and the city attorney and the city manager. I think before any decision is made, that you can find out what the statute is and see if we can put more people on the board. But in any case, I'm going to go with Helen Galvin, and that's my recommendation as a community member.
Thank you, Mr. Armenta.
Madam Mayor, maybe
Mr. Boyson?
Maybe Mr. Armenta has a suggestion. Perhaps could this be resolved in a 2-week period if we
Okay.
could anticipate?
Well, then we can just defer it until the next meeting?
I mean, at this point in time, we'll call it a tie base goes to the runner, and tie base goes to the runner.
So do we still have the motion on the?
Yes.
I think we had a second.
We had the
yeah.
motion, and then Mr. Boyson brought up about, are we
Continue it
limited
for 2 weeks.
to 5? Okay.
Well, without doing any research, there is an education code section that provides the library board shall be consist of 5 members. What the statute doesn't answer is whether or not that is a matter of statewide concern. If it is not, the council has the discretion to change that. If it is a matter of statewide concern, then the council would not have discretion to change that. I would have to research what type of statute it is.
So-
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was
Good,
just
Mr.
going to say,
Go ahead.
we could, could this be brought back to the April 17th meeting that
Okay.
we could?
Okay,
And that would
thank-
be my motion to
I
continue.
withdraw my
it.
motion then, Mayor, and so it's
Okay.
not left on the table like this.
Okay. Okay, that'll be fine. So that'll be agendized then for the 17th? Thank you. Okay. The next order of business is a public hearing. Madam Clerk, could you please read the title of Community Development Director for Mr. Eng?
The City Council will consider an appeal of the Planning Commission's approval of a plan development permit for Great American Self-Storage and either uphold the Planning Commission approval or direct staff to work with the project applicant on a redesign addressing specified concerns.
Mr. Eng?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I have some information for your consideration. I do not know if the appellant by the name of John Stratton is in the audience. And meanwhile, the applicant, David Pick, is also not available. He provided a letter stating that he could not be here. However, the representative for the applicant is here and available to speak. We may want to ask if the appellant, Mr. Stratton, is present or not.
Okay, is the appellant, Mr. Stratton, available? Here? I guess not.
With that, I think it's, Madam Mayor, it's the council's discretion as to how you may want to proceed, whether to continue with a public hearing on this appeal with the appellant not here, or to move forward with the public hearing and to hear the case.
Ms. Waterfield?
I think we should move forward and hear it. From reading...
Ms. Tamura is, I think, here to
Yeah,
speak.
right.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead and finish what you were saying.
Just reading the information that we received, and looking at Mr. Stratton, the reason he's appealing the project is due to the lack of parking, but the parking is completely covered and is legal. So there isn't any reason to delay this process, and staff has not identified any specific reasons presented in the appeal letter to overturn the Planning Commission's
Thank you.
approval.
Ms. Tamura, are you speaking for whom? Mr. Pick, okay.
Good evening. My name is Lori Tamura, Urban Planning Concepts. Over the last 6 months, I've been working with the applicant, David Pick. The landowners are here today. That's Mark and Bert Fugate. And so we're here to restate what was in the staff report. The Planning Commission did approve the project. Not only did we provide abundant parking within the project, but we've also spent quite a bit of time with the fire marshal providing new designs for their bigger fire trucks, wider drive aisles, and I think this is more of a state-of-the-art mini storage facility than you'll probably see in the rest of Santa Maria. Not only that, it has covered RV parking, which is also an asset for the community and for those that want the covered spaces. So without taking a lot of your time, we're here tonight to ask for an approval of the project, a denial of the appeal, so that the transaction can move forward with the Fugates. So I'm here, Mark or Bert, if you'd like to speak.
Ms. Waterfield.
Ms. Tamura, was Mr. Stratton at any of the Planning Commission meetings when this process was going through?
No, he was not. Did not respond to the environmental review document nor attended the hearing that I'm aware of. Did not speak.
Any other questions of Ms. Tamura? Mr. Boyson?
I have a question for Mr. Eng. Mr. Eng, is there a requirement? I mean, it's not our requirement that the appellant be here, is that right? I mean, he was given notice that this was the meeting?
This may be something I might turn over to the city attorney to respond.
I guess my question is, do we have an obligation to ensure that the appellant is present at the meeting?
It would be at the council's discretion. Whether or not you wish to continue to allow him to appear, I'm not sure why, the reasons he's not here. But it was properly noticed, so you may go forward tonight if that's the desire of the council.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Well, therefore, I stand by what I said previously. His concerns are invalid in regards to the parking and everything else. And if he did not attend any of the planning commission minutes or
Okay.
meetings, then
Any questions?
I agree
Dr.
with
Mose?
Mrs. Waterfield.
Okay. Do we have any requests to speak? 3, okay. Bert Fugate, followed by Ernest Armenta. Larry tomorrow. Good evening, Mr. Fugate.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, Madam Mayor and the members of the City Council. My name is Bert Fugate, and our offices are situated at 2625 South Miller Street, Santa Maria. I am the trustee and manager of the property that is the object of this hearing. The project has been the subject of intense planning and design for more than a year. Consultants and engineers have been working with community development in an effort to bring the project to a successful conclusion that fully meets all the city standards for the use of self-storage. It is unclear to me why Mr. Stanton has appealed the project approval of the City Planning Commission unless he has special knowledge of a more acceptable design for the storage industry not known by Mr. Pick and project proponents. Considering the minor issue of the appeal, I am asking the City Council to deny the appeal and let the project proceed. The proponents can tweak any issue deemed worthy of change by working with the community development and by using change orders. It is important that the project proceed and not be delayed further. I will try to answer any questions you have, and I thank you very much for your time.
Any questions of Mr. Fugate? None? Thank you, Mr. Fugate.
Thank you.
Ernest Armetta?
My Honorable Mayor, Mr. Boyson, I respectfully request that next time we have an appellant who appeals a project, that maybe staff should contact them and make it very important to that person that if you're going to come and halt a project, at least have the courtesy of coming here and explain the merits of your appeal. It's a waste of our time here. It seems that we have individuals here that we have Mr. Owens that didn't come up the last time we were here on the Oversight Committee for Measure U. Mr. Benedetti didn't come neither. So it seems like we have multiple individuals in this community who put appeals or sit on commissions who just don't come over here and explain themselves. Or at least give us the courtesy of being here. So I would request that you deny his appeal solely on his absence. Solely on his absence, Mr. Boyson. If you have a problem with the project and you want to appeal it, then at least come to this council and let the community know what your objections to this project is. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and I have your slip, Ms. Tamura. Okay, I'll close the public hearing. I'll bring it back to the council.
Well, since this is my district, oh, no. Well, I can't believe that Mr. Armenta and I actually agree. If we don't have anything further, I would put forth by resolution that we uphold the Planning Commission approval of the Great American Self-Storage Plan Development Permit number PD 2017-19.
It's been moved and second to uphold the Planning Commission's decision. Any further discussion? Yes, Mr. Cordero.
Mayor, I believe that he's not here. I don't know this man because his wife had to go under surgery today in Santa Barbara.
Well, that was
Mr. Pick. Yeah.
That's the applicant.
That's the applicant,
appellant,
right.
yeah.
So.
Okay. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Boyson?
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield? Aye. Councilmember Moats?
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Madam Mayor Patino?
Aye. The next item will be a report by the city manager, Mr. Stillwell.
Thank you, Mayor Patino, members of the council. The next council meeting is April 17th. We will bring back the library board appointees. We also have 17 items. 3 of note are another appeal for a mini storage project, the preliminary or an update on the general plan process with our efforts for preliminary outreach, and then a regular business item on the Diablo closure economic planning efforts. That concludes my report.
So we'll be here till midnight? Okay, now we'll hear the oral reports of council members. Mr. Boyce, I'm going to start with you.
Madam Mayor, my only reportable action or item was that I did represent the City Council at the Central Coast Water Authority's monthly board meeting. Actually, some good news. We've had some late unexpected rain in March and some late snowpack in the Sierras, which actually it looks like they will be able to provide us with the original 20% allocation that we were that was originally indicated. That actually was under consideration to be reduced. Also, at that meeting, we had an update on this California water fix, the so-called twin tunnel. The environmental document is out. There are numerous questions. The state is going to require what they call an affirmative validation, which means basically that they're going to open up the can of worms to anybody that wants to take a bite of this apple. The estimates are that it could be up to 10 years before this is actually resolved through the court system with all the lawsuits they're anticipating. So that project is probably not going to happen anytime in the very near future. So that's all I got.
Thank you. Ms. Waterfield.
Yes, Madam Mayor, on Wednesday, I did the Ben Hay Show for our post-city council meeting. Saturday, 24th, attended the Minerva Club fundraiser. I attended on Wednesday, March 28th, the Home for Good Funders Collaborative, and this was in lieu of the C3H organization that no longer exists. Home for Goods has come in and taken over that. You know what? And that's it.
Thank you. Dr. Moats.
Madam Mayor, on March 21st, I attended the meeting with the airport board, as did you. And I think the major item that I took away is that we don't yet have a scheduled airline that's going to be coming to Santa Maria at any time in the near future. But the airport's ever hopeful that at some point we'll get service. On March 29th, I attended the new Arts Committee that's been developed with different members from various boards in Santa Maria, and concerning public art. And we're all in agreement that public art is a good thing, and that Santa Maria would benefit by having more of it. The only question is, how do we pay for it? And I think people are tending now more towards developer fees. Then the question is, which developments? Residential or commercial? And so Mrs. Tamura gave us a rather extensive overview of what other cities do, and it turns out not very many other cities have a public art program. It would be really uncommon. And of those that do, most of them pay for it with public capital projects. That is, the city itself pays for it. And that would come out of the general fund. And we don't have a whole lot of extra money in our general fund to do that. So they were then talking about maybe just sticking it to the development community, commercial development. And then the question is, well, should we have a minimum size development? And then on the other side, should we cap it at a certain amount? And how much should it be? 0.25%? And so, as usual, we concluded by deciding to have another meeting. And that's my report.
Thank you, Dr. Moats. Yes. This is part of a bureaucracy, I think, isn't it? Mr. Cordero.
Oh, I can't top that.
No, you can't.
On March the 23rd, I did something that I would recommend that everyone do, and members of the community, people in the listening public, as I participated in what they call Battle of the Books for the school system, Santa Maria Bonita School System. And what that is these kids have to read like 30 books during the year, and they come together in a team, and they don't come with their school. Kids from all the schools teaches them also getting along with each other, participating in a competition with people that they didn't even know. And we asked them a series of questions, the author of the book, the name of the book, and certain things like who did what to who or said what to somebody, and they went through a sophisticated score sheet. And it's really a lot of fun. It's impressive to see these sixth graders read these books and their little brains are going, and it's fun to watch. I was also at the Home for Good funding. I didn't kind of get it at first because I thought we were going to go listen to funding, and halfway through the meeting I realized that it was more of a meet and greet, and there was like 20 or 25 people in the room from all over the county, and it sounds to me like this is going to work out. I think that it's going to be properly funded, probably with some major funders, and there will undoubtedly be some invitations going out to the various councils and supervisors in the county in order to help push this issue along. And then yesterday, I attended the police swear-in, and Chief Hansen swore in a new police officer. And I have a little question about that. I just wonder if she's 21. She looked like she was in high school. And she introduces her husband, and it was, as always those are, and you were there, Mayor, that they're always a pleasure to attend. And Santa Maria Police Department continues to grow in a very positive direction, as it has been for the last several years. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Well, could we do a battle of, we could read staff reports and see who could read most?
EIRs.
Oh, and we got to throw an EIR in there. March 21st, I attended the Santa Maria Public Airport District meeting along with our city manager and Dr. Moats. That afternoon, I attended the Business Advisory Committee at Santa Maria High School along with Ms. Waterfield. On the 24th, I did the Marion Foundation Legacy Society video filming. And on March 27th, I attended the mental health stakeholder forum at the Board of Supervisors meeting room and attended the Marion Legacy Society luncheon and did not attend Rotary that day. On the 28th, I also attended the Home for Good Funders Collaborative meeting. I guess I got a little thing different out of it. I think that the essence was we meaning government, needs to build houses for all these people.
That's where Hassel comes in. He's doing that now.
Yeah, but somebody has to pay for all that. So I went that afternoon, went to an Elks window art. I'm on the window art committee for the Elks. We're trying to get, and if anyone has a business out there that is interested in having art painted on your window on Main and Broadway or any place else in the city with a rodeo theme, just let us know. We have probably over 120 kids that have volunteered to do this, and we have teachers at all the high schools, Pioneer, Santa Maria, Rigetti, and St. Joe's that are very excited about this project. March 29th, I attended the Santa Maria Humane Society open house. And on the 2nd, yesterday, I did the police swearing-in ceremony. And yes, she was very young. I kept looking at her. She looked like she's 16, and she's not as tall as I am. And today. I did the Ben Hayes Show this morning and attended Rotary. And any other comments from the dais?
Do we have a new reporter from the Santa Maria Times?
I don't know. Do we have a new reporter?
Yes. Razi.
Welcome, welcome,
Thank you. Welcome.
welcome. Any other comments from the dais? If not, meeting is adjourned.